Bravely Default 2 was a disappointment. Wow, 2 negative video essays in a row? Look, I'll eventually talk about things I like, okay? Anyways, Bravely Default 2, which is actually the third game in the series, seriously, I'm never going to get over that, was a jrpg I found myself having a lot of mixed feelings about. It wasn't a bad game, but this game has its fair share of problems. Right off the bat, Bravely Default 2 has some pretty bad pacing. While the prologue seemed to be a reasonable length, Chapter 1 went on for far too long. You are stuck in this desert for so long to the point it got super boring, and I was really worried that the entire game was going to be like this. Thankfully, I eventually left Savalon, and I finally solved Chapter 2 and the rest of the game, and explored the rest of the world. But the sheer length of Chapter 1 is still something I can't believe. I have to wonder if there were a fair amount of players who just didn't get past Chapter 1 of this game because of how drawn out it was. But my biggest problems for Bravely Default 2 was changes to the gameplay. For some reason, the introduction of a wait system was added to Bravely Default 2. This system was not in the first two games, and it is really bad. Truthfully, I don't think a wait system in a turn-based RPG could ever work, but maybe somebody did correctly, but Bravely Default 2 certainly did not. How the wait system works is however heavy or light your armor is, that is your attack speed, and that affects the turns. Which means instead of having the usual every party member goes and then the enemies go, you can end up with the weirdest order of turns, which can lead to multiple instant party wipes and just very annoying moments. Now I like to think I'm pretty good at RPGs and that I don't brute force everything, but this change was seriously killing my enjoyment of the battles. Another thing they added was that enemies can counter now, which I remember being pretty annoying, but it wasn't as bad as the wait system. Another issue that I have at Bravely Default 2 is the class system. Now this may sound stupid, but hopefully I can explain this well enough so it doesn't sound dumb. The class system in Bravely Default 2 is too overly important, and that really ruined a lot of the fun for me. In the first two Bravely Default games, classes were important, but the game still lets you do your own thing, in a way. You could beat bosses in multiple ways, but with 2, this is just not an option at all. If you want to beat the bosses, you have to use a certain class, and that's it. Which sounds like a simple concept, except for the fact that a fair amount of times I found that whichever party member I was going to assign that class to was going to have a huge drop in stats, like more than I was willing to take. So obviously I was gonna go, there's just no way the game wants me to use this class. There's just no way this is the solution to the boss. This class actually sucks. But I quickly learned that no, this is what you had to do to make progress. I don't know if this is going to be a bro, I think you have autism or whatever moment. But how I wanted to play the game is how I played the first two games. I maxed out all the classes I was using before I changed to a class I got a bit ago. So I had to constantly switch up my classes before I felt like I really needed to. Maybe grinding would have been the solution, but I don't think it was, because every time I looked into what level I was supposed to be, I was always slightly over leveled, so it seemed the class thing was what was causing the problem. Another gameplay change I absolutely hated, and I don't know why they got rid of this feature, was summons. In the first two games, you could connect to the internet and get player data from other players to help you with hard enemies. You could also send out your player data to help out others too. It was a really cool feature, and I'm not sure why they took it out. It was very helpful, but I didn't think it was overpowered. I thought maybe they didn't add this feature back because it relied on the Street Pass feature of the 3DS. But I always use Wi-Fi to get my summons, so they definitely could have kept this feature in 2. What we got instead was that you could put your Switch into sleep mode and travel around the world, and you would find items, or you would meet other players and they would give you stuff. But I heard that the more you play the game, the worse this feature will work, or there was some kind of cap to it. Also, there was the Beastmaster class to let you capture monsters and use those monsters against other enemies, but that class becomes kinda useless in the late game. And finally, my last complaint about this game is that suddenly the game just switches up how things are done. For most of the game, you had to be really smart with how you fought. You had to use specific classes that you as the player may or may not like. You could not play this game stupid and get anywhere in this game. Chapter 5 onwards, the game lets you be stupid. Seriously, one of the things the game teaches you is to not spam Brave, which, if you're not familiar with the Brave and default system, you can use the Brave command 3 times to attack 4 times, but you won't be able to attack for 4 more turns. And you can default 3 times, which is just guarding, and then you can attack 4 times that way with no cooldown. The chapter 5 boss fight, all you have to do is spam brave on all characters basically. But wait, it keeps going, because on the final boss, which you fight the final boss 3 times, but I won't talk about the last way you beat it, because that's actually a story spoiler. But yeah, the first final boss fight is pretty tough. I was wondering how could I beat this boss, so I googled it. And all you basically have to do is equip a shield on all characters that repels wind attacks. And on the second fight, I was faced with the same question again. What do I do to win this boss fight? There's gotta be some kind of high level strategy to beat this thing. No, you just spam the level 10 Vanguard skill cross slash multiple times, and it always hits at 9,999. And I just found this so annoying because from the very beginning, I was trying to play the game the way I play, which is kinda dumb or just abusing things that are OP, but the game was having none of that. And so I'd grown accustomed to how the game wanted me to play, only for the late game to switch to the way I play turn-based RPGs. And I was just like, why couldn't the game have let me play this way from the very beginning? In the end, I beat Bravely Default 2 with mixed feelings. While I have complained a bunch about this game in this video, I still enjoyed aspects of this game. I found the cast to be pretty good. Not as good as the original cast of the first 2 games, but the cast of 2 had good chemistry and were still likable characters. And when the story hit, it really did hit. But the whole experience was pretty muddled by the frustrating gameplay and pacing problems. I beat Bravely Default 2, putting 100 hours into the game, and apparently it was only a 60-hour game. So I don't know if I enjoyed the game for 60 hours and then like 40 hours or vice versa. But it definitely was something like that. It really is a shame, because I see there still is a good game here, but I found it to be an absolute chore to play through the game. I really only beat it, because I beat the games I play. I'm not really one to leave things unfinished, which maybe I should stop doing that. I hope whenever we get Bravely Default 3, which will be the 4th game, it's more like the first 2 games, because while those games aren't flawless, they at least don't feel like they overstayed their welcome or have massive issues in my opinion. Anyways, I have been Crazy Blood Monkey. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I kind of complained a lot. But yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and here's the end card. Go ahead and click on something. I don't know. I kinda just let YouTube decide what you should watch next. So I guess we'll see what the robot picks. Alright, anyways, see you guys in the next video. Bye.